Hi there, if we've never met before, my name's Hoenn. If we have met before, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing something really different. Are you all ready? We're going to be talking about a new Pokemon ROM hack. Come on, at least pretend to be surprised. If it wasn't the title or the thumbnail, it was for sure because I love talking about ROM hacks that gave it away, isn't it? Alright, well with that surprise being a failure, I guess we can move into talking about the hack we're going to be looking at today, Hoenn's Last Wish. Hoenn's Last Wish is a ROM hack built on Emerald that has its own unique story as well as custom trainer and Pokemon sprites and many quality of life features. It currently is a demo, as are most of the hacks that I make videos on, but HLW has quite a bit more content than I was expecting. I was so excited to find out that a ROM hack released with a custom story and that it might be one that I actually enjoy. It's kind of a mix of time travel, alternate timeline tropes, which honestly I was kind of a bit worried about, but it's also what drew me to it. I feel like alternate timelines can get kind of gimmicky if they're not done well. Sometimes they're just used more for the novelty of being able to have an alternate timeline rather than actually using them to make a unique story. So I was quite surprised when I found myself wanting to play more and more to find out what happens in the story. HLW doesn't use all the same characters that you would find in the base games, but certain characters stay the same, like Maxie and Archie from Team Magma and Team Aqua. That's what made this hack so interesting to me. We don't play as Brendan or May, and there's no Professor Birch. Instead, there's Zeno, Zanina, and Professor Acacia. But a lot of the places we see in Emerald are still here. It's just that some of them look a bit different, but otherwise familiar. There are also new places as well, but that makes sense since we're not in the exact same timeline as we would be in Canon Emerald. It's kind of an uncanny valley effect, but in a good way. Now, if you're not so interested in the story, that's fine. I totally get that. Been there, done that. There's still a lot for you to enjoy. The great thing about HLW is that it does give you many customization options as to how you can play. By default, it gives you level caps, but you do have the option to turn those off. You do also have options for things like nuzlocking, battle item toggles, and the difficulty of NPC trainers. I personally have skill issues, so I just stuck to the defaults for everything, including the level caps, which was more than enough of a challenge for someone like me. I think that since NPCs are different and there are new version variants for Pokemon, that makes more than enough of a reason to check this hack out. As far as I'm aware, according to the hack's developer, Rafael Sana, the game is around 50% complete, and I would say that seems about right. In terms of tangible gameplay, that's pretty much everything through the 5th gym. Now, I was a little slow getting this video out, so there has been at least one new version of the hack published since I started my playthrough, and unfortunately, save data between my version and the newer patch was non-transferable, so I had to finish my gameplay on the older version. There may be things that have already changed since I played, so when I go through my gameplay in a little bit, do keep that in mind. I was emotionally attached to my 60-hour save file, so that's why I didn't start over. I think HLW is the first demo that I've managed that much playtime on. A lot of that was shiny hunting, which was very easy for me to get lost doing since HLW does have the dex nav, which makes chaining for shinies so satisfying. Now, that's, I think, the end of my TLDR with no spoilers or anything. What you think? I think I'm getting pretty good at these. Once again, from the top, quick bullet points. There's new Pokemon variants, new trainer battles, new story, a good chunk of playtime, and a lot of thought and effort went into everything, so you should check it out. I'm gonna get into my playthrough in this next section, so if you want to avoid spoilers and play through this on your own, now's probably the time to go and download it for yourself. Before you go, make sure to drop a like on the video and maybe subscribe if you enjoyed our short time together, and as always, the link to the Hacks Poke community page will be in the description. Hi, okay, thank you for sticking around. Now we can play through this together. First things first, what kind of tipped me off that this hack was going to be something unique was that they took the time to make a custom intro. That's always something I feel like I'm looking for in hacks, but I understand it takes a lot of time, so I totally get that it's not possible for everyone, and I was really excited to see this intro, and I was even more excited to see Celebi and Jirachi. Those are two mythical Pokemon that I feel have the potential to be great storytelling devices. When we select new game, we're put into a dialogue with Jirachi and Celebi. Here, Celebi explains to us that the world has collapsed and that Hoenn has changed drastically. Celebi traveled from Johto to find Jirachi to help grant a wish, which makes sense since Jirachi is the wishing Pokemon. Celebi also explains that the balance that Rayquaza worked so hard to keep between Groudon and Kyogre was destroyed by humans, and that caused this apocalyptic situation. Seems pretty on brand for humans. We then get to go pick who we are, and I really like the rugged look of the player characters. The boy NPC is called Zeno, and the girl is called Zanina. They are HLW's versions of Brendan and May. Once we give Celebi our name, they explain that this whole intro has been a dream, game, and they brought us here to ask for our help. Apparently, we gotta follow the path of fate, and we fade to black. We then appear in what I think is some form of space, maybe some sort of limbo between worlds, I'm not sure. It's a cool design though. And jumping across the ruins in the middle, we see Celebi and Jirachi. Celebi explains that we're currently in a fragment in time that hasn't happened yet, but it's a future that we must avoid. In this future, Hoenn has been swallowed by storms and ravaged by raging fires. So yeah, safe to say I think we should probably make sure that doesn't happen. Walking over to Jirachi is where we get the lowdown on the lore of HLW's version of Hoenn. Jirachi explains that Hoenn was a diverse paradise where there was a delicate balance kept between humans and Pokemon. When this balance was disturbed, Kyogre and Groudon began rampaging, which caused catastrophic tsunamis and volcanic eruptions. With no salvation in sight, humans desperately built shrines to call upon Jirachi and Celebi for help. Jirachi, hearing their call, summoned the Millennium Comet, and that's where our story begins. After the very crisp and satisfying lore drop that had pictures, I'd like to point out, Jirachi asked if we want to skip the prologue. Instinctually, since I want the whole experience, I said no. Okay, wait, hold on. Turn off your ears real quick if you don't want a major spoiler. Okay, ears off. Alright, cool. As a reward for being a good cookie and choosing to go through the prologue, you get rewarded with a shiny charm, which is what drove my obsession to shiny hunting in this hack. Okay, you can turn your ears back on. As we fade into the cutscene, we see our grandma and grandpa chilling outside the tent in the pouring rain when a tremor hits. Is this what it's like when folks stand outside and watch tornadoes blow past in the distance? Talking to grandma, hey, wait, if you shut your ears off before, shut them again and look away. Grandma gives us the shiny charm. Okay, you're good to turn them on again. Grandma lets us know that we should go help the survivors from the tremors, and unfortunately, I had to say that my ineptitude kept me here a lot longer than it should have. I was talking to every NPC, inspecting every rock because I couldn't get past the Mightyena down by the water. I finally realized I had to ask Luca here for help because he actually had a Pokemon to fight with. Talking to him put me past the aggro Pokemon, which then allowed me to go pick up these time gears. Since we were just in this space-time limbo thing, I figured they were probably important. We grab all three and then bring them to Celebi at the shrine on the north of the island, which grants us a way off of the island over a Wailord's back. Here we stumble upon a sleeping Jirachi to the west, and giving them the gears caused the Millennium Comet to streak past us, which we heard about from Jirachi earlier. The screen fades to black as the comet strikes past, and we wake up in our bedroom. What a weird dream. Was that Jirachi and Celebi? Maybe it wasn't a dream, we say to ourselves. Honestly, you know when you take a nap in the middle of the day and you feel like you've transcended time and space when you wake up 3 hours later? It probably felt like that here. I do my normal ritual when I start a Pokemon game and crawl over to my desk to steal from myself. I'm going to need that potion for sure. Before we walk downstairs, the hack drops an infinite candy in our pocket, which I did not use. I'm definitely the kind of player that likes to grind and level up on my own. Plus, with all the chaining I was doing while I was looking for shinies, there was no shortage of XP. We make our way downstairs and see Grandma. What's up, Grandma? Done storm chasing for now, I see. Walking out of the house, we can see that it's just Little Root Town. Everything looks to be right. Nothing too weird going on here. Quick side note before I play up on this further. When I was scrolling through the Poke community threads, I saw mention that some folks were saying that this game looked too much like Emerald, and I thought that was really silly. Firstly, there are plenty of hacks that are literally just Emerald, same tile sets, same layout. But the thing about HLW is that since it's supposed to be alternate timeline Hoenn, it makes sense that it looks like the Hoenn region. We'll see when we move further into the hack that things are familiar but different. Okay, time to head over to talk to our neighbor. Thankfully in this hack, it's not Brendan. That kid's a jerk. Hi there, ma'am. Are we not gonna... Okay, I'll just head on upstairs. That's another thing I should mention really quick. There are some odd bugs in this hack, and since it's a demo, I think that's just to be expected. And like I said earlier, I am playing an older patch, so this and other bugs like it very well may be fixed by now. But when I went to go find the name of the female counterpart to Zeno, I noticed that when I played as a boy, Zanina's grandma would start a dialogue with me. She asked us if we came to talk about the comet that flew over the sky last night. Zeno's grandma does not do that, baby. She's just not one for small talk. I totally get it, grandma. No worries. There's not much to do in Zeno's bedroom, so I walk back downstairs and he happens to stop by. He asks us if we saw the comet last night and says he made a wish, but doesn't tell us what he wished for, which is good because everyone knows that means it won't come true. He also lets us know that Professor Acacia believes that the comet is connected to Pokemon somehow. I have a strange feeling the professor may be onto something. Zeno says he's got some stuff to do, so I head on over to the Pokemon lab. One of the lab assistants lets us know that Professor Acacia isn't in and that she's out doing field work. Okay, well, time to go and see what she's up to. Walking north, we hear a shout for help, and I think we found the professor. What is that she's being chased by? Oh my gosh, it's so cute. What is that? I'm coming to help, Professor. We walk up to her bag, and here we get to pick a starter. Our choices are Bulbasaur, the water type, Totodile, the fire type, and Torchic, the grass type. I was torn between Bulbasaur because it was kind of an axolotl, and Torchic since it's a grass type. I ended up picking Torchic because how could I resist a cute grass type? Speaking of cute Pokemon, it turns out Professor Acacia was being chased around by a Sentret. Sentret? I love Sentret! Literally one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. I was so excited to see that there was a custom Sentret, and this one is Grumpy. Look at how cute it is! Anyway, after we save the professor, we get brought back to the Pokemon lab, and she explains that our grandma let her know that we don't have our own Pokemon yet. But since we did such a great job saving her, the professor says we can keep our Pokemon. I named my little Torchic Parsley because she's a grass type. That's pretty creative, huh? Professor Acacia then suggests we go find Zeno so we can learn what it means to be a Pokemon trainer. Okay, Professor, I will do my best. I make my way up to Route 103 to go find Zeno after doing a little bit of training. He greets us and says that it's pretty cool the professor gave us a Pokemon. He let us know that the comet's been on the professor's mind, and that's what might have driven her to give us our starter. I personally think it's because we helped her with the Sentret issue, but you know, it's okay, Zeno. He challenges us to a battle, and we can see here that he picked Totodile since we picked Torchic, which makes sense. I was a little bit over leveled, but don't worry about that, there are level caps. After the battle, Zeno says we should head back to the lab, and I think that's a great idea. We enter the lab, and Zeno is waiting with the professor. She explains to us that Zeno's been a trainer for a while, and that it's impressive that we beat him on our first try. Thanks for the free confidence booster, Professor. She gives us a Pokedex and shares a bit of backstory about her research partner, Calendula. Calendula eventually became the leader of Petalburg City Gym, and Acacia encourages us to go see her to learn how we can become a real Pokemon trainer. So I suppose that's our next stop. But of course, you know, I'm not just gonna head straight there. That's not how I do things. Heading into a house in Oldale Town, we talk to this NPC here who shares with us that a cave seems to have appeared to the east, which she can't seem to remember if it was there before or not. If we're going based off of what Oldale normally looks like in Emerald, I can tell you that there is definitely not normally a cave to the east. Her husband seems to disagree though. Apparently it's always been there. Don't mind her. Dude, that's not how we're talking about our wives. Get out of here. There's not much by the caves for now except for the version exclusives of Sentret and Zubat, but I feel like a cave that's appeared out of nowhere is probably something that's going to be important later on. Walking onto Route 102 towards Petalburg, I found a couple of trainers and then picked some berries. Since HLW has an in-game clock, I figured that I could plant the berries and they would be ready in a few day-night cycles to be picked again. Unfortunately, when I was playing, berry growing was not implemented, so I basically just threw out all the ones that I had planted, which I did quite a few times before I figured that out. I walked into Petalburg and made my way to the gym like the professor suggested I do. We meet up with Calendula, who says that she's been expecting us and that we're gonna start on our journey to become a real Pokemon trainer. Honestly, I could probably use that at this point, so I'm ready. But before we get to that, this kid walks in. Hey, I remember you. You're Luca from the Prologue. What's up, buddy? Remember me? No? I guess that makes sense. Calendula explains that Luca is a prodigy that likes to investigate mysteries in Hoenn. Oh, okay, so Zeno's a seasoned Pokemon trainer and Luca's a prodigy? I'm really starting to look bad here. Luca explains that before he goes to Verdanturf to learn about the comet, he wants a true Pokemon battle before he heads off. I don't think you're gonna be finding that here, buddy, unless you're fighting Calendula, just saying. Go to Route 102 and battle him. What do you mean? How is fighting a rookie like me gonna give him a proper send-off? Whatever, I guess an ego win might be worth something to him. I've been training for so long. Let me show you what I've learned. Come on, man. I'm brand new. This isn't even fair. His sprite is really cool, though. I like his design a lot. Hey, look, he's got a Pidgey. Is this his Pidgeot from the Prologue, but it's a baby? Anyway, he only had a Pidgey and an Eevee, so the battle wasn't hard. Don't be fooled by Zeno and Luca's battles being relatively laid back. It doesn't stay that way for long. After the battle, we head back to report to Calendula, who explains that she thinks we'll be alright to head through the Petalburg woods. Luca says that he enjoyed our battle, but he was holding back. I would hope so, because 1, you only had 2 Pokemon and you said you've been training for a while, and 2, because I literally just got my first Pokemon. Anyway, he heads on out to go learn more about the comet, and Calendula gives us our next task. She explains that we should head to Rustboro City to go challenge Terra, the rock-type gym leader, and then continue across Hoenn to gather more badges from other gym leaders. She warns us that we should be cautious since strange things have been happening throughout the region. She then encourages us to come back to challenge her when we're ready. Alright, sure thing. Guess we should head north to the woods and then on to Rustboro. And just before we leave, Calendula gives us an Eevee egg and an Everstone since it was her first Pokemon on her journey as well. Alright, north we go into the woods. Dang, this looks different than I remember. They say this forest remembers every step taken within its shadowy depths. Ancient tales speak of travelers who entered and emerged changed. Wonderful. As we make our way through the forest, we see a somewhat familiar face, a Devon researcher who happens to be looking for a Shroomish. Oh, hey, look who it is. What's up, Team Aqua? We were gonna ambush you, but you took too long. Really high caliber criminals right here. The researcher researcher hides behind us and then makes fun of our outfit, which I don't know if I would be doing that to a stranger that you need to have save you. And the team Aqua grunts also make fun of our outfit, calling us a costume party reject. Dude, you guys don't look too great yourselves in your sailor stripe outfits. You all look like Animal Crossing villagers. Interestingly, this is a double battle and you'll have those at times in HLW, and I think it's a great mix-up, honestly. In this battle, you can see that there's a version variant for Zubat, and its typing is Steel Poison, which is pretty cool. It's also strong since it has Levitate for an ability, so the only thing it's truly weak to is fire. Anyway, we win the battle, which was a tad more challenging since they had more Pokemon and were closer to the level cap. After the battle, the grunts threaten us and tell us to watch our backs because they'll be in Rustboro too. The researcher thanks us for saving him and hands us an ability patch, which is a great gift. Thanks, man. I guess I'll forgive you for making fun of me for now. Then off he goes to follow the grunts to see what they're up to. I can't wait to get to the city to see what's going on by the time I get there. Upon entering Rustboro, everything looks fine, except when did this rock get here? Lots of rocks. Hey, more rocks. Oh, and a bridge. Water. This is definitely different. I like it. This NPC explains that there have been earthquakes for years, and with each one, the land splits more and more, which may help explain how all this got like this. I went north and then east and ended up in the Rust Turf Tunnel, where I saw this guy who was absolutely amped. He says he's trying to psych himself up to jump across, and there's rumors that if you fall down this hole, you never come back, and you can hear the voices of people who are stuck down there. Yeah, honestly, under normal circumstances, I would say definitely don't do that, but since I'm the main character, I have immunity, so I'll just do it for you, no worries. I jumped across and found an air balloon. How ironic. I made my way back, went further down the tunnel, and found nothing. So I left and went back to the city. Okay, gym time. Whoa, look how cool rock climbing. Although conceptually, how tall would the gym have to be to fit all this in here? Probably better not to think about it too hard. I had to admit, I was pretty worried about Terra's team because I wasn't sure what it would look like. I knew they would probably be using new variants, so I was a little bit worried about my type coverage, which is something I struggle with under normal circumstances. Walking up the stairs, I see a nose pass, so that's at least familiar and expected. I've got my Furret, which is thankfully a ground type, and my Torchic, that is a grass type. So we should be all right. Terra's design is really cool, like many of the custom trainer sprites. I'll be saying that a lot. Oh my gosh, Lily, bro, I'm cooked. This thing has grass type moves for sure. This is exactly what I was worried about. Just gotta bluff my way through it, rock punch it a bunch. Okay, that worked. That's good. One down. All right, what's next? Nose pass. Stop staring at me like that. It has confusion, so it's part psychic type. Wonderful, for it is a fighting ground type, so that's not gonna work. I swap into Zubat to take a hit from confusion and then try to flinch it with Astonish. Okay, it worked once, but couldn't survive a second hit. Thankfully, Parsley was faster than Nose pass, so I was able to OHK, which made me feel a bit more confident. Terra's final Pokemon, Corsola, went down in 2 hits, although it cut my speed with Rock Tomb, which almost got me. Okay, look at that. We got our first gym badge and earned the ability to use Cut. We don't have that yet, though, and the guy in the Cutter's house doesn't have it. He says his granddaughter is the one to talk to, but she's not here, so we'll have to go find her. Well, let's head back north. Oh, and look at that. The Devon researcher is back. What's that? You got robbed? You want us to go get your package back? Okay, I guess I can do that. I was headed that way anyway. Outside the Rust Turf Tunnel, we run into the unidentified old man who had his beloved Nami stolen. All right, an actual reason to go into this tunnel now. I'll get Nami back, Mr. Brenny. I mean, sir. I guess we found Team Aqua, and he's got Nami. The grunt says he's made off with a useless Pokemon, and now he's stuck in a tunnel that leads to nowhere. No one is going to call Nami useless and give me the goods back while you're at it. This battle was unexpected. His Tentacool had Ice Fang, and this Love Disc variant threw me for a loop, especially since it kept using Swagger and Water Pulse to confuse me. When he sent out Krabby, I was sweating a little bit, hoping that it didn't have a move I wasn't expecting. It had 2 stacks of Amnesia and an Oranberry, but thankfully Parsley was a physical attacker, so I didn't have to worry about the stat changes. Kinda difficult, but I actually enjoyed it. Normally grunts aren't competent like that, so it was a bit of a surprise. Oh, and after the battle, Silcoon evolved into this amazing form of Butterfree, which was totally worth the wait to evolve. I loved the design. The grunt gives us the Devon goods, and Mr. Briny comes in to reunite with Nami, who I forgot to mention is a variant of Numel. Such a great Pokemon to choose for a custom, by the way. I made my way back to the Devon researcher and handed him his stuff. Here he gives us an ability capsule, so I guess he made it worth our time. He brings us to the Devon building and asks us to deliver the goods we recovered to the shipyard in Slateport. Sure thing, buddy. I don't think they're gonna get there if you were to do it. Hee hee hee. Don't hee hee me. He then asks us to meet with the president of Devon, Mr. Stone. Mr. Stone asks us if we can stop in Dewford town to deliver a letter to Stella. You got it, Mr. President. And as an early payment for agreeing to deliver the letter and saving the researcher, he gives us the Dexty Nav. In the menu, it's called the Dex Nav. up. The Dex Nav is what you can use to chain for shinies, and it will allow you to search for Pokemon with hidden abilities and better stats, which is what makes it really cool. So when I had left the Rust Turf Tunnel, I saw an entrance to an area to the south. Here you can find this person, who turns out to be the old man's granddaughter, who's the master of the HM cut, and her name is Tsubaki. She has this amazing form of Delcatty, which I love. Look at how cool that is. Plus, it makes sense she would have this Delcatty with its knife tail since she's the cut master. Upon beating her, she gives us the HM for cut. Unfortunately, and this is just personal preference, you have to take up a move slot for HMs. Now, I understand that they have been rebalanced to be a bit more useful, like cut has a huge increase in damage and is now a bug type move, but I would still prefer to have an extra move slot instead. It's not that big of a deal, especially since you have access to your PC from the Pokemon menu and you can just move in a Pokemon to learn an HM, but it's still something I would have rather not had to have worried about. With cut acquired, I headed back south through Rustboro to make my way to Mr. Briney's house and found Zeno just chilling. We talked to him and he simply asked us if we'd like to have a Pokemon battle. I feel like it gave me an option of yes or no, but do I really have a choice? His team was put together much better than the first time we fought him. He had an Oddish that he felt the need to swap out to save when I tried to have Skitty finish it off. Instead, he brought out Croconaw, whose form looks really cool with the fire on its fin crest thingy. So I swapped to Furret, although it managed to flinch me with Bite and damage me down with Twister, which wasn't ideal. Then he sent out one of these stupid Tentacool. I really don't like this Pokemon. If it has Water Pulse, it counters me, which I correctly predicted and then swapped out. Then it confused Combuskin, because why wouldn't it? And thankfully, Combuskin's physical attack was high enough to OHK it. After defeating him, Zeno gives us the XP share, doesn't say anything about it, just throws it at us. He feels the need to drop some wisdom, saying that Mr. Briney was once a great sailor. That's all you have to say? Okay. On we go to meet up with Mr. Briney outside of Petalburg. He offers to take us to Dewford. Heck yeah, let's go. He definitely speeding here, but you know, he's the legendary great sailor, not me. Once we arrive, things look a lot different than I remember, but I really like this redesign a lot. It makes sense for Dewford to look more like an island with palm trees and like other stuff rather than just a town with sand like it normally is. I headed north to the Granite Cave, cause why not? You can see here before I enter the cave that I have a shiny Marill, which I didn't record any footage of because it took me an eternity to find. Here is Ball, isn't he cute? Oh, and sometime before now, but also after the first gym, I managed to catch a shiny Sentret, which I also don't have footage of. I think I only had to chain around 150 for him to show up. When he's shiny, he's yellow. That's why I named him Miles after Tails, you know, from Sonic. But when I evolved Miles, his color reverted back to normal. I was so upset, like actually heartbroken. This is what you're afraid of when you're a kid and you don't know if evolving your Pokemon will make it not shiny anymore, except right now it's actually true. His overworld sprite is shiny. You can see the red and off-white colors that you might expect from a shiny Furret, but in-game he's just normal color. Depressing. Hopefully that's been patched. Anyway, into the cave and there was this person here. Hello there, your name is Aurora? That's cool. The celestial light flows through me. I see things others cannot. This comet is no mere rock in the sky. It's a message from beyond, they say. This isn't gonna go well for me, is it? Aurora challenges us to a battle, but yet again, this ROM is killing it with the NPC designs. Cultist Aurora, huh? Yeah, and now I'm a bit worried. They sent out a coughing, and just like in every single Pokemon game I play, poison types are my weakness, no matter how hard I try to counter them. Starting with Marill was unlucky, so I swapped to Skitty, since if it was going to use a poison type move, it wouldn't be effective, right? Yes, but no. It lowered my accuracy with Flash instead. Fun. Swapped into Zubat for some reason and got hit with Flash 2 more times. I decided on Steel Wing, not entirely sure why, but we're never punished, so on to Nuzleaf, which is a fire type now. Wonderful. Fire is Zubat's one weakness, so I'll swap to Marill instead and get hit with Flash again. Can you stop doing that? Then it used Magnet Bomb. Are you also a steel type? What is happening? Also, it was at this point I had a horrific realization. I captured Ball at level 25 because of the way the Pokemon levels scale when you use the Dex Nav. I didn't know that since I caught Ball at level 25 instead of leveling it to 25 that it wouldn't listen to me because of the level cap. This was a great time to learn this in the middle of a battle. I tried to see if I could convince him to use Aqua Tail, but no, he went to sleep instead. Thankfully, Miles was able to OHK Nuzleaf with Dig and save the day. Also, Nuzleaf has Aftermath, which feels especially evil. Next was Kadabra, which isn't good for Miles, so it's time to swap to Ninjask, where I got hit with Flash again. You really need to stop doing that. But one hit from Fury Cutter was enough to finish Kadabra, so that was good. Aurora's final Pokemon was Chinchou, which I was like, oh, no big deal. I figured I could get the stack damage from Fury Cutter, but instead I missed because I got hit with Flash beforehand. Then I got hit with Spark, so I swapped to Furret, anticipating another Spark. Instead, I got chunked with Water Gun, so yeah, no, that's not gonna work. Time to swap to Combustion, Spark and Water Gun, you use Flash again. I'm actually crashing out, and Thunder Wave. Okay, well, a Paralyzed Heal and Trailblaze was enough to finish Chincho, and finally, I defeated Aurora. After the battle, Aurora informs us that the comet showed them visions and warnings that a great crisis was approaching Hoenn, and says that we might be the ones to stop this devastation. Which, no pressure or anything. Ironically, but unsurprisingly, Aurora gives us Flash. Thanks. Just what I wanted. Aurora informs us that we can't use Flash without the next gym badge, so guess we gotta go get on that. Plus, I still have to get this letter from Mr. Stone to Stella. But before heading to the gym, I checked out the granite path to the west of Dewford, which is a neat little tropical oasis. There are lots of trainers here, and it's really pretty to look at, so if you're short on XP or money, it's a good place to get some of that. The gym in Dewford is dark, as is to be expected, but it's also got pavement. Renton is the name of the gym leader, and he uses fighting type Pokemon. Walking around the gym, we can see that there's like streets in here, broken windows, potholes, brick walls. Again, how big are these gyms? They are literal alleyways with parking spots, but I really like it. It's again a super unique design that I would have never thought about. I like this gym in particular because there's a bit of a puzzle which had me stumped for a second. You need to look for the different marks on the ground and the walls to see where to go next to progress through the room. Really creative. All right, I made it to Renton, who has a mohawk and a Furret. Hey, I have one of those. A Furret, not a mohawk. Renton explains to us that he took down the last gym leader here, whose name he's already forgot, using his own fists, which, okay, that seems counterintuitive. If you're a Pokemon trainer, you should probably use Pokemon, but whatever, we're here now, so let's get this out of the way. Renton starts the battle with a Mankey, so nothing too scary. I apparently forgot to heal my Pokemon, so Pidgeotto has some damage already, which is a great start. I picked Pidgeotto because in HLW, it's a flying psychic type, so it should work pretty well here. One Air Cutter, and that's one Pokemon down. Next, he's got a shiny Breloom. No need to flex like that, my guy. It's faster than me and nearly OHK'd me with Headbutt, which I am very lucky did not flinch me. Air Cutter does the trick on Breloom, and then we're on to Furret. I went for the Air Cutter thinking that I might be faster. I unfortunately was not, and instead got hit with Rollout. That's okay, we're alright. Herbert, my Kadabra, should be faster, right? No, wrong. Furret was faster, but thankfully Herbert survived turn 2 Rollout. Was a little bit worried about that. Okay, confusion was not enough to OHK, huh? Alright, well, we can try to swap to Combustion, who survives turn 3 Rollout, barely. I mistakenly thought yet again I could outspeed Furret, but no. Thankfully turn 4 Rollout missed, and I was able to secure the KO with Razor Leaf. Which, thinking about it now, it probably would have been safer to use Trailblaze for the guaranteed hit, but whatever, it's fine. Oh, you have Heracross, huh? Yeah, that's a bit of a problem for me. It's faster, and Aerial Ace did Combustion in. Now here you may ask, it used Aerial Ace, so I send out Furret, and then the second question is, why did you use Dig? I have no idea. I also tried to poison it using Poison Fang on Zubat, but nothing was working. At this point, I felt like I was gonna have to redo all this, and I really didn't want to, so I just opted to sacrifice Zubat and used my one revival item on Pidgeotto. Surprise, second wind incoming. One Air Cutter did the trick, and just like that, Renton was defeated, and we get our second gym badge. You totally wrecked me, he says as I'm crying. With our new gym badge, we're able to use Flash, and that means it's time to venture down further into the Granite Cave, since that's the only place we haven't checked yet, and we still need to find Stella. Like I mentioned earlier, you do have to pick up a move slot to teach an HM, which makes a random Pokemon in your PC the perfect candidate for such a job. There are a couple trainers in here, as well as these Magma grunts who are just staring at rocks. We've been stuck in this hole all day, digging for whatever the boss wants. Is this technically a hole? Yeah, actually they call these floors, but technically if this was a real cave, where would we be? Anyway, after fighting both Aurora and Renton, the Magma grunts were nothing memorable by comparison, and honestly, I could use a break after those two difficult fights. Past the precarious hole in the floor is this room where we run into Stella. Finally. What are you doing in this cave with such strange clothes? This is what I chose to wear. Why is everyone such a critic? Don't tell me you're with Team Magma. Stella, that would be a valid concern if the two evil organizations in this region weren't color-coded, but they literally only wear red and blue. Stella takes the letter and thanks us. We're also given the TM for Steel Wing, which is pretty cool. And HLW TMs are reusable, so you can teach it to any Pokemon you'd like. And you can also relearn moves from the Pokemon Moves tab. Stella shows us a painting that they came to study, saying that it must be thousands of years old. Yep, it does look pretty old, so that checks out. Stella thinks that Team Magma may have come to look for the mural, but honestly, the grunts were busy just staring at rocks, so I'm not too sure about that. So that checks off one of the things on our list of things to do. What do we have next? Oh yeah, we gotta deliver the Devon goods to Slateport. All right, Mr. Briny, off we go. Sir, can you please slow down? There are people in the water. Without any noticeable casualties, we land at the dock in Slateport. I walked into this building here, which is kind of like a pool house, I think. There are a few trainers, and if you beat them all, you get half a dozen sodas, so that's pretty cool. Free money and free soda. As we walk into Slateport, we can see a conga line of Team Aqua grunts. Excuse me, just gotta get to the Pokemon Center over here. Alrighty, time to go find Captain Stern. We enter the research facility, and Doc tells us that Stern isn't here. What do you mean he's not here? Okay, I guess we'll go look for him somewhere else. Walking back outside, the swarm of grunts seem to have funneled into the museum, so I suppose we should go check that out. This grunt squeals when we run into him. Apparently, we kicked his butt back in the Rusturf tunnel. Oh yeah, I do remember you. He throws a TM at us and runs out of the building. Walking up the stairs, we find Captain Stern, and he thanks us for bringing the goods to him, saying that they can move on with the expedition now. Right? So that's everything checked off of our list of things to do. Oh no, here comes some grunts. Our boss wants those parts. Shut your yap and fork them over. No thank you. These are mine. So we take care of them, and then this person comes up the stairs. Hey, I like your hair and your suit. That's really... I came to check to see what was taking so long to snatch some parts, and you simps are held up by a mere child. Oh, I take it back. Your hair is ugly and your clothes are tacky. In all seriousness, I do really love Alejandro's design. The suit is really slick. I can see now why the two grunts weren't supposed to be as difficult, though. Okay, battle time. You have a Milotic and a Masquerain, huh? Okay, Milotic is fast. Oh, and Masquerain knows chilling water. That's cool. That's not so good for Ball, who's a physical attacker. Oh, and Masquerain has a rocky helmet. That's great. Milotic starts turn 2 off with Protect, and Masquerain OHK's Combuskin because Ball is too slow. Milotic is tanky, and it kept using Icy Wind, which lowered my speed. It wasn't a terrible battle, but Alejandro only had 2 Pokemon here. I think the inevitable re-challenge is going to be painful. I suppose I at least have some wording beforehand. Alejandro and the grunts leave, and we hand the goods over to Captain Stern, who tells us that they're preparing for an ocean floor expedition very soon, and so he must get going. Okay, have fun. So with the Devon goods and Stella's letter delivered, I guess all that's left to do is go north of Slateport and see where to go next. Heading up Route 110, we run into Professor Acacia. She asks us where Zeno is, and then registers herself in our Pokénav, which I don't remember getting. The professor does bring up a great point though. Where is Zeno? I haven't seen him since he threw the XP share at me back in Rustboro. Oh hey, here he is under the cycling path. What's up, buddy? He says he wants to see how we're raising our Pokemon and challenges us to a battle. Alright, my guy, let's see what you got going on this time. A Swala and a Snubbull that are both fire types, huh? Really trying to counter Combuskin, aren't you? Doesn't that make your team like half fire types at this point? Miles chunks Swala out with Dig, and Ball manages to OHK Snubbull with Aqua Tail, so we're doing pretty good so far. Don't pay attention to the level difference. That's got nothing to do with it. What Pokemon's next, Zeno? Oh, Combuskin. I didn't realize you had one of those. Okay. Swala just kept spamming stockpiles, so one more Dig from Miles does the trick. Pidgeotto manages to OHK Zeno's Combuskin with Air Slash, so that leaves one more Pokemon. Surely it's gonna be Croconaw, right? Oh, Wigglytuff, huh? Alright, it's kind of tanky and managed to get Pidgeotto, but Aqua Tail was enough to finish it off. It's nice to have you actually listening to me, Ball, instead of deciding to AFK mid-fight. After the battle, Zeno says, "You've been training without me noticing." Well, I mean, we haven't seen each other for a while, so what did you think I was doing? He gives us the dowsing machine as a reward for beating him, so that's cool, I guess. Then he says he's off to look for new Pokemon and rides away on his bike. Well, since he went north, I suppose we should follow him to see where he's going. North of Route 110 is Mauville City, and this person asks us if we've heard about the city's gym leader, Den. No, actually, I haven't. They say he's a genius with electricity and Pokemon, but also a little unstable. His experiments go too far sometimes. Right, that's comforting. Going towards the gym, we can see that Luca's out front. I thought you were going to Verdanturf to learn more about the comet. When we talk to Luca, he's having a conversation with his uncles, sharing how he's worked really hard and really wants to challenge the gym. His uncle reminds him that he does have other priorities that he has to worry about, and that since he's been doing so much researching, he hasn't had as much time to train as he should have. Luca asks us if we'd be willing to help him to see if he's ready to take on the gym, and since he's blocking the door, I don't think we really have much of a choice. Luca has 4 Pokemon, and he starts with Pidgeotto and Umbreon. I guess that would be the Pidgey and Eevee from earlier. I swapped out Pidgeotto for Ball because I expected a Dark-type move from Umbreon, and I was right. It used Snarl, which lowered my special attack. That's fine because Miles and Ball are both physical attackers. Force Palm wasn't enough for the the OHK on Umbreon, but it did paralyze, which was then also applied to me because of its synchronized. Oh, and Umbreon had a Lemberry. That's cool. Oh, and it also used Moonlight. That's gonna be annoying. I went for Pidgeotto instead of Umbreon with Play Rough because I figured it was a bigger threat. Luca then sent out Dustox, and so I decided to swap back into Pidgeotto, which was a bit risky if Umbreon wanted to use Snarl. But instead it decided to go for another Moonlight, which brought it back to full health. A Play Rough from Ball wasn't enough to OHK Umbreon like I had hoped, which unfortunately allowed for Umbreon to Snarl next turn. That was enough to take down Pidgeotto, but thankfully Ball finished Umbreon, and it's time for Luca's final Pokemon. Tentacruel. I hate this Pokemon. I used Aqua Tail on Dustox, which was enough for an OHK, and so that left Luca with just this stupid octopus. Surely I can't mess this up. I was worried it was gonna have a poison type move, which much to my dismay it does. It has Venoshock, but thankfully Breloom tanked the hit and got a headbutt off, and then once again, an Aqua Tail from Ball was enough to finish the job. After the battle, Luca thanks us for battling him and says that he needs to train his Pokemon and catch new ones. Sounds good, my friend. I don't know how well you would fare against an electric type gym, so anyway, all that's left to do is go to the bike shop and get a bicycle. Oh, I'm just kidding, but I did pick up the bicycle before heading to the gym. In the Mauville gym, you travel through the maze using these magnets. The puzzle was relatively straightforward, so it didn't take me too long to make my way on over to Den. Going into the battle, I was expecting it was going to be difficult just because my team wasn't really prepared in the way I think it should have been. I should have probably been paying attention to what Pokemon can have what abilities and checking the grass and the surrounding roots to see which Pokemon I could use, but I just really wanted to kind of play with the team I had. So I just ended up throwing a very underleveled Graveler in there for some peace of mind. Sitting with Den is a variant of Politoed, which makes it a water electric type, aka not something you want to deal with when you're relying on ground types to do the bulk of the work for you. Den starts off our interaction by saying hee hee hee, which is not a good sign. He says, "I've taken more shocks than any normal human should survive. My body learned to adapt." Yeah, so is there any way I cannot fight a genius scientist that electrocutes himself to test the limits of the human form? No? Okay, Den starts off with a Plusle, and I'm already panicking because I know it's going to do something that I don't expect it to. And it does just that and chunks Zubat with Super Fang. I decided to go for Poison Fang to try to proc Poison, and thankfully it worked. I swapped to Skitty for some reason, I'm not entirely sure why. But Plusle used Wish, which I did not appreciate. I decided to go for a Slash, which would have finished it off with the poison at the end of the turn, but Plusle's Wish came true and it healed. I wasn't going to survive another Shockwave, so I figured I would swap into Miles. I was right, and Miles took no damage. I went for the Quick Attack thinking that Den might just sacrifice Plusle, but instead he swapped Politoed, a regional variant of Politoed that I had to remind you is electric and water type. It tried to use Water Pulse, but missed because I decided to use Dig. And with that, I was able to 2-turn Politoed, which had me feeling a bit confident. Next is Volbeat, huh? In hindsight, Combuskin would have been the pick here for Aerial Ace, but you know. Volbeat used Chilling Water to lower my attack, which sucked. Anticipating the Chilling Water for the KO, I swapped Ball, and I was correct. The plan just became Faint this thing, so I used Play Rough to finish it off. Next was Magnezone, and it was at this point I realized I might be in a bit of trouble. I had a suspicion that it had Levitate, which meant I didn't have any effective way to deal with it. I decided to take a turn to heal Miles, and unsurprisingly, Magnezone hit Ball like a truck with Shockwave. Hoping it was going to do the exact same thing again, I swapped into Miles, and I predicted correctly. My only option was to try to Force Palm since I didn't have anything else that was super effective. It hit twice with Tri Attack, which was enough to KO Miles. So I swapped to Combuskin, who was able to tank a Tri Attack. I figured that Trop Kick would be enough to KO Magnezone, but it didn't. Instead, it KO'd Parsley. I went to Zubat to try to hit with Steel Wing, but that didn't KO either, and it ended up KOing Zubat with Shockwave. And at this point, I was desperate. Skitty was able to finish it off with Quick Attack, so that left Plusle. Or at least that's what I thought. I somehow neglected the fact that Den had one more Pokemon left, and it was Minun. At this point, I had to bring out the underdog Graveler. Being only 2 levels under Minun was my saving grace, I think, and also the fact that it just spammed fake tears. Needless to say, I'm very grateful that I brought along my emotional support Graveler since it was able to secure our 3rd gym badge. After receiving the Dino badge, we're now able to use Rock Smash, which means we can venture up north. After fighting my way through the Fiery Path and traveling to Fall Arbor Town and heading south to Meteor Falls, we come across Team Magma again. Hey, what's up, losers? Strange, isn't it, how the sky sometimes trembles? This meteorite fell with the Millennium Comet. Oh, is that what you all were looking for back back in the granite cave? Man, you are way off. It hums, as if it remembers what the world has forgotten. Our boss awaits at Mount Chimney. Everything will change there. When Hoenn is remade, the impure will not be spared. Okay, I don't really like where we're going with this, so maybe you just hand that rock over to me. I don't know who you are, but if you get in the way of Team Magma, don't expect any mercy. Get lost. Dude, who died and made you the boss? And then from stage right, we hear, hold it right there, Team Magma. Oh my gosh, has someone come to save us? Oh, I wonder who this is, I bet. Hey, wait, it's Archie. Honestly, even in Base Emerald, for some reason, I don't think Archie was as evil as Maxie, but maybe that's just me. Our leader sees a future greater than this fragile present, says the Magma grunts. Oh man, I'm pretty sure I really need to get that rock from you, my guy. This is like the one thing I'm supposed to do, and then they just blow past us out of the cave. Great. Kid with the strange outfit and cape. Yeah, that's me. Those are my only two defining features. You're the one who faced our Captain Alejandro. Oh no, please tell me he's not here right now. No matter. I don't have time to deal with you now. You may not realize it yet, but Team Magma's ambition is ruined. Hoenn is surrounded by volcanoes, sleeping giants beneath our feet. There are legends here, ancient forces of nature. Power like that blinds men. Be careful who you trust. Right, and by that logic, you all are just as bad. Our mission is different. To expand the seas with purpose to shape a new noble world. So I don't think that's how that works. I'm pretty sure that you're all just exactly... Oh, okay, you're leaving now? Team Magma is up to something at Mount Chimney? Yeah, that checks out. Archie does warn us that there are certain things that we're just not capable of dealing with, and apparently what's happening with Team Magma is one of them. Well, I don't really have much of a choice here, Archie. I really need to get that rock back. So time to ride the cable car to the north of Route 112 up the mountain to go see what's up. Everything looks relatively normal here. I mean, there are all these grunts all over the place, but nothing too out of the ordinary. A bit to the west is this grunt named Netsu. So you're the weirdo everybody's been whispering about. I heard some brat in a cape has been playing hero and actually managed to beat that scumbag Alejandro. Yeah, that's me, brat in the cape, pretending to be a hero, not by choice. I can't stand him. Oh, I'm sorry, what? That spoiled boy. I hate Alejandro. Oh. Okay, do you feel better now that you let that out? Magma admin Netsu challenges us to a battle and starts with a pincer variant and Houndoom. Alright, I've got Ball and Miles, so this matchup should be fine for now. Aquatail OHK's Houndoom and Netsu sends out Magmar. Interestingly, Magmar burned Ball and was able to survive an Aquatail because of it. Magmar also burned Miles, and I can't KO this pincer to save my life. Use Play Rough on pincer, please. Come on. No? Okay. I'm a bit slow to finishing the battle here because I'm burned, and Gramble had this Pasho Berry, which further weakened Ball's Aquatail. Gramble uses Bulldoze, which lowered everyone's speed. At this point, I swap into my shiny Poliwhirl, which I had caught as a Poliwag a while ago, but I wasn't able to use him because of the level cap. I forgot that Gramble just used Bulldoze, so Poliwhirl took a ton of damage from that. And then Miles fainted because of his burn. But finally, Zubat gets Pincer with Poison Fang, and Poliwhirl took care of Gramble. Netsu gets in one last hee when the battle ends and says, the Revolution's plan is bigger than you, bigger than me, bigger than this stupid mountain. I already did what needs to be done. The meteorite's in place and the machine is ready. Oh man, come on. Walking up, we can see someone staring at the machine. Oh, it's Maxie? You're thinking of interfering with us, Team Magma? Maxie, give me the rock. You listen. Minerals and ores move this world. They build cities and fuel industries. That's why what sleeps beneath this mountain is all important. He also tells us that they're gonna cause the volcanoes to erupt so they can extract the valuable resources that they uncover. Oh, dude, what? We're fighting Maxie now? Thankfully, I healed because I don't think this would have gone very well otherwise. He starts off with Mightyena, which thankfully gets one turn by Ball. Ball, the goat. Maxie only has 3 Pokemon, so I guess it's not too bad. Next is Sharpedo, which is now a fire type. It confuses Ball with Swagger, which is not ideal, and Ball hits himself. Next turn, Sharpedo goes for Bulldoze, but thankfully gets one shot by Aquatail. And Maxie's last Pokemon is Zubat. Okay, not what I was expecting, and I still don't have an answer for it. I almost one-shot it with Discharge, but it lived with like 1 HP. Body Slam was enough to finish it off, and thankfully Maxie was defeated. He retreats, but not before saying that he doesn't actually need the meteorite, but instead only needs the orb. What orb? I don't think Jirachi or Celebi said anything about an orb. Oh, and then suddenly Archie appeared out of nowhere and walked off the screen. And then he starts talking to us, even though he's not on screen. He warns us that we're putting ourselves in real danger by staying involved in this whole Team Magma, Team Aqua revolution stuff. He says the revolution will save the world whether we understand it or not. Does the world world really needs saving though, Archie? Because this sounds like you're making a problem and then solving the problem you made. Oh, and then he walks back on screen and disappears. Definitely not intentional, but still pretty funny. I go to pick up the meteorite and a text box says, do you want to remove the meteorite? One small act could delay a continental revolution. I need this rock, so yeah, yes. For now, Hoenn is safe. Cool. Great call, Vanilla. Okay, space rock acquired. What should I do next? Well, there's a gym and lava ridge at the base of the mountain, so I guess that would be the next stop. Okay, Ball, you ready, buddy? It's your time to shine. This is a fire type gym. Nothing has been done to change the layout here, but that's okay. That being said, I've never liked this gym's puzzle. For some reason, I just failed the IQ check each time, but you know what? That's a skill issue. Although it does mean that by the time I get to the gym leader, I'm kind of already frustrated. This gym leader's name is Amaterasu, and she's apparently a pop star, and it looks like she's got a Ninetales. I also really like her design. It's not the idol kind of look I was expecting when I heard that she was a pop star. 5 Pokemon this time, huh? Well, she starts off with Gramble, which is good for Ball. Unfortunately, it has Intimidate, so that's 1 stack of lowered attack. Gramble hits with Fire Punch and manages to burn on turn 1. Come on, man. I don't need this already. 1 Aqua Tail wasn't enough, but 2 was. Then Amaterasu sends out her Ninetales. I figured it might have something to OHK Ball, so I decided to swap into Poliwhirl, but unfortunately it hit like a truck with Dazzle and Gleam. Bad call. I guess we can just heal up Ball. Oh, and it has something to counter its weakness. It has Energy Ball. That's fun. Okay, fine. Swap into Ball for an OHK with Aqua Tail. No, you're burned. Swap into Pidgeot to tank Energy Ball. Good call again. Nice. I heal up Ball again because he's my ace and Ninetale uses Overheat, which faints Pidgeot. Since it lowered its special attack doing that, Ball didn't take a ton of damage from Energy Ball and was able to defeat Ninetales. Next was Arcanine. It had Intimidate. Man, I love that fluffy puppy. It knows Wild Charge. Of course it does. Okay. You're gonna do that again, so let's swap into Furret. No? How about Extreme Speed? Twice. Dig secures the KO on Arcanine, and now it's on to Houndoom. Dig again. Dig. That OHK feels real nice right about now. And then Amaterasu sends out her final Pokemon, Flareon, which also goes down in 1 turn to Dig. Good job, Miles. Amaterasu is talking about how much we've inspired her and stuff, and I'm over here just petting my Pokemon, telling them how great of a job they did. In addition to giving us our 4th gym badge, defeating Amaterasu gives us the ability to use Strength outside of battle. Strength is now really high damage, and it's a fighting type move, so I taught it to a few of my Pokemon. When we walk out of the gym, we suddenly stop. Why can't I move forward? A text box pops up, and it's Zeno. Hey man, are you calling me on my Pokénav? He compliments our badge collection and gives us the Go Goggles so we can walk through the desert by Route 111. Then he asks us if we think we're ready to face Professor Calendula back at the gym in Petalburg. I mean, me? Not really. Maybe you though, Zeno. Maybe you go first. After he says his goodbyes, we can see him at the bottom of the screen. Ah, so that's where you were. Oh, but then he wall glitches off the screen. Maybe he can teach me how to do that. So it's time for the 5th gym, huh? Alright, off we go. Calendula is a normal type gym leader, but we already knew that. My team was somewhat equipped to handle this for once, since a few of my Pokemon were able to learn strength. When we go to challenge Calendula, she seems pretty happy that she's able to challenge one of her own students. Honestly, I kind of forgot we were kind of taken under her wing since the last time we saw her was before we left for Rustboro. Okay, I'm ready. She starts off with an Eevee and an Ambipom, and I think it's so cute that she still has an Eevee that isn't evolved. Oh, and I love Ambipom too. Can you tell that I really like normal types? Immediately, Calendula swaps out Eevee for Porygon 2, which I definitely did not want to see. I know to be scared of this thing. Oh, and it traced Pidgeot's Magic Guard, huh? Well, so much for trying to poison it. I had taught Ball Toxic since I figured it would be more reliable than Poison Fang on Golbat. Okay, I should have just focused Porygon. I knew better than that. Porygon OHK'd Pidgeot with Thunderbolt. Okay, Rock, you got this. Ball took a Thunderbolt to the face like a champ, and with the help of strength from Rock, we managed to take down Porygon. Okay, let's keep up the momentum. What is next? Oh boy, an Ursaluna, huh? Wasn't expecting that either. I suppose it's part normal type. I got scared, so I used an energy root on Ball because he was low, and then I had Ball use Toxic on Ursaluna. High horsepower unfortunately took down Ball, which was unexpected. Okay, let's try a big brain play here. I chose to send out Blaziken, which looks amazing. Literally the best designed for a Pokemon I've seen, period. I chose Blaziken because Earthquake from Graveler wouldn't do any damage, but would hit both of Calendula's Pokemon. I told you. Big brain. Well, it would have been big brain if Ursaluna didn't use Facade and Faint Parsley, but it still worked out. Nice job, Rock. And then finally, Ambipom fainted from poison after like a billion turns. I sent out Poliwhirl and Calendula sent out Obstagoon. Oh my gosh, I will have to shiny hunt a Zigzagoon later because that is so cool. And then there's Munchlax. Munchlax. Hi, little buddy. You're so cute. Obstagoon has Protect. Wonderful. So it tanked 2 strengths. I won't be doing that again. 2 strengths on Munchlax this time. Okay. Oh, hi, Eevee. You're so cute. I used Strength on Eevee, and I know that Poliwhirl isn't fighting type, but with a beneficial nature, Eevee still took, like, no damage. Calendula, what are you feeding this little guy? Thankfully, Obstagoon went down relatively easy after that. Yay! We got our 5th gym badge and the ability to use Surf. After the battle, Calendula laments about how she's disappointed that she lost, but very happy that we've grown as a trainer. After she finishes speaking to us, this guy comes in. He knows our name for some reason. Who are you? Oh, we're just going now, huh? Oh, okay. Oh, hi, hello there. Since Luca went to Verdant Turf Town, he's been doing incredibly well. We believe you had a big part in that. Oh, okay, I'm glad to hear it. Luca's always been brave, but lately he's been burdened by strange dreams and that comet that he keeps talking about. Hey, I also have strange dreams about comets. Oh, you're giving me Surf? Oh, thank you. So I walk over to Luca's grandma and she says, don't tell my husband. No worries, grandma. I'm great at keeping secrets. Luca left Verdant Turf without telling anyone. Oh, okay, so maybe that's something we should share. I feel like that's an important thing. He's always been brave and restless, following his instincts, she says. Okay, well, if I find him, I guess I'll make sure to tell him you say hi. Without any direction of where to go, I figured since Grandpa gave me Surf, I should probably go use it. I knew that I could surf to the east of Mauville, so that's where I went. When I made it across the water, I ran into Steven. Steven. Hi, Vanilla. It's me, Steven. We met in the cave to the east of Dewford. No, we did not. It was at this point that I realized the demo was probably over. I do wish that it had some sort of dialogue box letting me know that the story isn't changed past this point. I saw somewhere, I think on the Poke community thread, that the NPCs have their teams changed at the gyms and stuff, but the story is still based Emerald from here. So this is where I decided to end my playthrough. Obviously, if you couldn't tell by the length of this video and the amount of time I spent playing through the demo, that I really liked it. I really hope that they continue keeping the story involved throughout the game because I think that's one of its strongest features. Obviously, these are just like my thoughts, but I hope that the development of the story doesn't get cast to the side in favor of making battles the focus. I like that the battles are challenging, at least for someone like me, but I unfortunately wasn't able to enjoy projects like Dreamstone Mysteries as much as I would have liked because I got hard stuck due to the difficulty curve. I'm sure that's not a very popular opinion, but as it stands now, I like that I was actually able to maintain focus on the story when playing through Hoenn's Last Wish, and I didn't have to worry about team building each step I took. I think that the demo has longevity too, in the sense that with many different customization options for how you play, you can do all different kinds of playthroughs. If I had one request, just one, it would be please make more Pokemon variants. I loved each of the designs I saw, and I would love to have more to collect in Shiny Hunt. Oh, I lied, 2 requests. The second being, please make sure that Shiny stays shiny if that hasn't been fixed already. I will definitely be keeping an eye out for when this hack gets another major release because this was definitely the most fun I've had with the ROM hack. If you made it this far into the video, I want to thank you so much for watching and spending some time with me. I loved playing through this ROM and being able to share it with you. If you haven't already, it would be amazing if you could drop a like and consider subscribing if you like the video and me. Oh, and if you can, it would be awesome if you could drop a comment letting me know what your thoughts are about the hack. I love reading all of your comments and responding to them. Also, I want to say if you want to see what I'm up to between videos, that you should consider checking me out over on Blue Sky. I post all kinds of silly stuff over there. I'll leave a link in the description so you can go check it out if you'd like. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day, and I can't wait to see you again next time. Okay, bye.